friends, welcome to episode 9 of Principal Science. It is going to be a great episode today. I got so many great things for you. Enjoy. It's good to see you again. Brain science for today. The magic of making mistakes. One of the best ways to learn is by making mistakes. Did you know that? Your brain is made up of millions of tiny neurons. And when you learn something new, the neurons connect and send electrical signals back and forth. When you make a mistake, realize it and fix it, you are strengthening those pathways and connections. So by making mistakes, realizing it, fixing it, and getting better, you're making your brain stronger. So that is Principal Science, brain science for today. Scientific word of the day.
Scientists say herbivore. These are animals that eat mostly or only plants. An herbivore can be as small as a tiny insect or as big as a massive beast, like a rhino or elephant. There are even fish that subsist on a diet of only plants. Scientists can clue into an animal's diet by looking at its teeth. Meat eaters tend to have sharp, pointy teeth that are good for tearing at flesh, but herbivores tend to have bumpier and broader teeth that are better at tearing leaves or grinding up grass.
That is our scientific word of the day.
Did you know that when a car is going 50 miles an hour, it will use around half of its fuel just to overcome the resistance by wind? I didn't realize that. Did you know?
On this day, in 1912, American aviator Harriet Quimby became the first female pilot to fly across the English Channel. She left England in a 50-horsepower monoplane. She headed for France in a plane she had never flown before and a compass she had just learned how to use. Despite poor visibility and fog, Quimby landed 59 minutes later in France. That is pretty amazing. In 1912, the first woman, Harriet Quimby, to fly across the English Channel. Our scientist of the day is Florence Nightingale. She was a health pioneer who transformed nursing into a respected, highly trained profession. She used statistics to analyze wider health outcomes, advocated for sanitary reforms, and was basically credited with adding 20 years of life expectancy to people who lived at that time period. She lived from 1820 to 1910. Our scientist of the day is Florence Nightingale. Mousetronaut by astronaut Mark Kelly. The space shuttle is set for launch, and the astronauts are doing their last-minute training to prepare for the mission. NASA is sending along some special guests for this flight, and they are training too. One mouse is smaller than all the rest. His name is Meteor. The other mice know he won't be chosen for this important mission, but someone has his eye on Meteor, and he's impressed with the little mouse's hard work. The shuttle commander announces that 6 mice will be selected for the flight. He picks 5 of the biggest, strongest mice. But for the 6th spot, to everyone's surprise, he chooses Meteor. All 6 are taken to their new home, a special cage called the Mouse Hotel. The other mice are nervous as the countdown begins, but not Meteor. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff! At first, the mice are pressed flat against their cages by the power of the launch, but then the pressure goes away. The other mice cling to their cage in terror, but not Meteor. He loves the feeling of weightlessness. Hey, little guy, the commander says, you're a natural, a real live mousetronaut. Meteor is taken from his cage and gets a tour of the shuttle. He can even see the Earth way off in the distance. The astronauts are all very busy during the 14-day flight. There are spacewalks to take the experiments they have to conduct. But what can Meteor do to help? Then, while answering email, one of the astronauts notices the key to the control panel stuck between the monitors. When he tries to get it out, it accidentally gets wedged farther down. "This isn't good," says the commander. "We need that key back." One astronaut tries to remove the monitor. It doesn't budge. Another slips her fingers into the crack, but the key is stuck down too deep. One even tries pushing it out with a long piece of metal, but with no luck. No one can reach it. The astronauts are getting worried, but as they discuss the problem, a tiny figure has an idea. But the smallest isn't a bad thing, Meteor says to himself. Maybe I can be of use on the flight. Meteor squeezes his way into the crack. The space is dark and cramped, but Meteor spots the key and tugs at it with all his might. "Hey, look at what our tiny friend has done," the commander says. "He saved the mission." When the shuttle returns to Earth, Meteor is declared a hero. He's even given a brand new uniform and official title of Mousetronaut. All the astronauts cheer and applaud, but Meteor is already thinking about his next big mission. Mousetronaut by astronaut Mark Kelly. Today, for our science principle, we're going to start learning about Newton's laws of motion. It is going to be fantastic. Going to learn about motion. Today's principle science principle.
Newton's first law of motion is often stated as, an object in motion will stay in motion, and an object at rest will stay at rest, unless acted upon by an outside force. This law is also called the law of inertia, since inertia is the tendency of an object to keep doing what it's doing. You have experienced Newton's first law if you have ever used a swing on a playground. In order to start swinging, you have to use a lot of force, but once you get going, it can be hard to stop. Here on Earth, there are some forces working on objects all the time. When you throw a ball upward, it doesn't keep going up forever because the force of gravity pulls it downward. Once it hits the ground, friction, or resistance caused by surfaces rubbing together, will eventually bring it to a stop.
That is the science principle of today. Newton's first law. We'll investigate those around campus sometime next week. If you enjoyed episode 9 of Principal Science, we'll see you tomorrow. Ta-ta for now.